Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. So today we are going to discuss on this very important topic of the Prasadam Prayers. So before that, what is the meaning of Prasad? Not audible? Oh, okay. They're bringing mic. Okay. So how much I am not audible? It is bilkul it is not there, or a little bit it is coming? Very little. Okay. Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram. Who is bringing? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So little more time we'll do Kirtan only. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai.
Hare.
So this is an important education, how to set up a mic. So speaker should never be behind the mic. So the feedback will come inside. So most of you will do this service. Always speaker should be there before. no, and at a good distance, not very close by. Take it and keep it on that, this one.
But my wire.
Wire is there, sufficient is there. Yeah.
That is movable.
That's okay, right?
Yeah, वो stable है.
And just remove the topmost brick. Yeah. So the speaker should not be there down also in the ground, so then sound will not propagate. It should be at a height, and then it should not be behind the mic, no? Or very close to the mic. Okay. So now we are going to discuss this important bhajan, Sarira Vidya Jal. So before that, Mahaprasade Govinde also. So first of all, what is the meaning of prasad?
Mercy.
Prasad means mercy, right? So that is the meaning. So we see there is a statement that is there. It's audible even with this one. Okay, we see there is a statement that Lord Brahma makes, in his prayers. He says that prasada leshanu grahita evahi janati tattvam bhagavan mahimna. So if even somebody gets a slight trace of prasad of the Supreme Lord, so then he will be able to get the understanding about the Supreme Lord. Janati tattvam bhagavan mahimna. So like without prasad, we will not be able to understand the Supreme Lord, right? So we have been discussing on this subject. Like if we want to understand the Lord, so we will be able to understand Him only with the mercy of the Lord. So only with the mercy of the Lord, not by our own force or our own endeavor. No, that is not possible. So it is, we are completely dependent on the grace of the Lord to make advancement in devotional service, right? So this is very, very essential aspect. So now one form of prasad is considered to be prasad, like rest everything it is just like somebody wants to buy a mineral water, they will say Bisleri leke aao, so there are so many other brands are there, but still they'll call Bisleri because that is the first brand, or it's most popular, this one. And if somebody wants to take a copy, they will take Xerox leke aao, Xerox is also a company, like many other companies that came, but still like copier is always called as like Xerox. तो ऐसा like खाने वाला प्रसाद को प्रसाद बोलते हैं, so बाकी सबको मतलब so the prasad means the mercy of the Lord, right? So here we see that this without the mercy of the Lord, so we will not be able to make advancement. And we have been discussing on this subject that when we enter into this process of Bhakti Yoga, so we need to know how this process works. Otherwise we will not get the benefit of it. Just like if somebody gets into a business, so he needs to understand how the business functions. Simply he just gets some products and then try to sell, so it may not sell. Like many people open this online marketing, like they open a website. So what is that thing? E-commerce, e-commerce. So they want to do e-commerce. तो उसके लिए क्या चाहिए? वेबसाइट चाहिए, like कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स चाहिए, डाल दो, and then कुछ सेल्स नहीं हो रहा है. So then like they have then somebody says like you have to learn how the e-commerce works. First of all, you need to learn how the business works, and then you need to learn how e-commerce works, and then like you may be able to sell something, right? So you need to understand how the whole business actually works. So in the same way, we need to understand how the Bhakti Yoga actually works. For that, a very, very little background of all the yoga systems, and then we will get into the Bhakti Yoga, and we will get into this particular prayer where actually it fits and how it actually helps us, right? So now we see that the major problem that we have is we are all stuck in this material world, and then all the yoga systems, they actually address one point. So that is how to get out of this material world and how to attain permanent shelter, no, like how to attain liberation. So that is the subject matter of all the yoga systems. It is just like, no, if we are deceased, so then we go and take medicine. So like what are all different options that we have? So we have allopathy, homeopathy, no, siddha, then ayurvedic, naturopathy, and so many different things are there. But all of their goal is to make a person free from disease. No, in the same way, all the yoga systems, no, the goal is to make a person free from the material encumbrance, and then get him liberated. So that is the purpose of all the yoga systems. So if we see like what is the karma yoga system, that how does the karma yoga system actually helps us to achieve this. So it is about all yoga systems like no, having this goal of liberation. So they also try to see that how to get the person out of the material clutches. So now karma yoga system, how it helps us, it says that okay, no, like the senses and sense objects, no, when they come together it's a problem. So but then if you bring the senses and sense objects in a legal way, so then they will give you knowledge, and then if you bring them together in an illegal way, then they will bind you to karma, right? So this is this one. So now for example, somebody wants to like all of us have the need of having some food. So then karma yoga system says okay, first you offer the foodstuffs in the sacrifice, like to the Lord, and then you accept as prasad, right? So that is one thing. And then you have this one, desire to work. So you have the capacity to work, desire to work. Okay, there is varna and ashrama is there. So based on your nature, a particular work is determined, and work according to that. So then if you work according to that, it is dharmic, and you will slowly the material contamination will reduce, and slowly the knowledge, that is realization of the absolute truth, will increase, right? So this is one of the paths. So then the next is jnana yoga path. So in the jnana yoga, like we see, we will have for the level 2 students, like we will have a detailed session on this, but I am just giving it in a brief. So in the jnana yoga system, we see that like give up completely all the material engagements, and then it is jnana yoga system starts with sannyas. Uske pehle like jnana yoga kar hi nahi sakta. So jnana yoga starts with sannyas. So like one has to give up all the like engagements, all activities in the material world, and he has to engage himself completely into the study and completely into the meditation and austerities, and depriving the senses of the sense objects, like not proper sleep, not proper eating, like like performing severe austerities, so that is not possible for everyone. So the entry criteria for jnana yoga is that one has to become graduated in karma yoga. So then you can enter into, it's like college में कौन enter कर सकते हैं? तो 12th पास हुआ तो एंट्री कर सकते हैं. सो 12th पास करने के लिए हम कर्म योगा करना पड़ेगा. सो उसमें like if the person has become very good in controlling his senses, then he will be admitted into jnana yoga system. So then we have the ashtanga yoga system, so where it is made in the practice is in a different way, like senses coming together with the sense objects is the problem. So now there is rules and regulations, again there is yama and niyama is there. So that is do's and don'ts, like not to have extreme engagement of senses and sense objects. So but then like there is practice of asana and pranayama. So it works in a little more subtle way. So when we are able to control the mind, then we will be able to control the external senses also, right? So by the way of control of mind, so we will control the senses, and then slowly gradually what we will do, pratyahar. Like ahara means food, and parityaha ahara means like to give up the food. So for eyes the food is to seeing beautiful things, and for ears to the food is to hear nice music and nice songs and nice sound vibration, and for tongue good tasty things, and for skin it is good touch, and for the nose it's like good smell, and also for the mind to think about the material subject matters and things like that. So in all the ways the ahara is removed, like by the way of pranayama and asana, a person is able to control his senses, and slowly the input to the senses is completely gradually stopped, and then dharana, dhyana and samadhi. So like increased meditation on the supreme absolute truth, that actually happens. So with this we see that every yoga system, if you see, like they try to remove the senses and the sense objects far apart. No, they try to separate the senses and sense objects. Why this is happening? Because ehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonayevate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. So like, since the concept of senses and sense objects coming together is the perfect combination for dukkha yonaya. No, like this one, dukkha or misery becomes pregnant. No, like misery is conceived and then it will get delivered over a period of time. No, so like this one, whenever we do sense gratification, so immediately there is a delivery of misery is going to happen after some time. So some this one, like if some sense gratification delivers the misery immediately, some delivers after a day. No, like if I overeat, no, maybe no, tomorrow I'll get indigestion. So and some this one sinful or like some sense gratification delivers misery, no, many years later, and some delivers misery in the next lifetime, right? So or in many lifetimes later. So like that. So like for example, yesterday in one of the sessions we were discussing Mrigari pastime. So like this person was keep on killing animals, and when he will get this one result of it, so in the many lifetimes to come. So one lifetime, one animal which he has killed will come and kill him. You know, so it is like so much long, repayment of the misery actually, right? So for him it looks very nice. No, in fact he tells to Narad Muni that whenever these animals are twisting and turning in pain and they are suffering, between life and death, I feel so much happy. So this is definitely, it creates some happiness. When senses and sense objects comes together, definitely it creates some happiness, but it also comes with a package of misery, and that misery is deferred over a period, or like after some time, we will get that misery. So now that is why nateshu ramate buddha. So Krishna mentions an intelligent person doesn't take pleasure in engaging the senses with the sense objects. So now what is the definition of intelligence here? How do you define intelligence? Who is a knowledgeable person? Who has got a lot of data in the head? Who has LKG से लेकर PhD तक पूरा रट मार के सब data जमा के रखे हैं, so huh? Okay, what is right, what is wrong? Means in terms of the subject that we are discussing is very narrow.
Sense object should not be
Senses and sense objects
should not be put in touch, or they should be regulated.
They should be regulated. So a person who has got greater sense control, he is considered to be a knowledgeable person. Intelligence is directly proportional to sense control, right? So a person who can control his senses, that means he is advanced in knowledge, right? So if you see in Karma Yoga, like we see that a person is not able to give up the sense objects. Okay, fine. You engage with the sense objects within the rules and regulations. So then you have come to a level of this one detachment from the sense objects. Okay, you can get admitted into Jnana Yoga, so where you can develop further knowledge, right? So and in this way, the initial definition of knowledge or an intelligent person is that he is able to control his senses, right? So this is one of the important, very important aspect of any of the yoga systems, is to avoid sense control upon the practitioner. So then later on, what is the next level of definition of knowledge is he is able to understand, or he is able to understand the absolute truth in a progressive way, right? So the absolute truth is understood in the way of Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So level 2 participants have gone through that session. So the first level of understanding of the absolute truth is Brahman. So he is considered to be a very intelligent person. If somebody gets the realization of the absolute truth as Paramatma, he is even more intelligent. And then if somebody gets the realization of the absolute truth as Bhagavan, so he is very intelligent, right? So that is how the progression of intelligence actually goes, right? So initially it is about sense control, and later on about understanding the absolute truth. So all the yoga system is done for the purpose of understanding the absolute truth, right? So the first is sense control, and second is the understanding of the absolute truth or understanding of the Supreme Lord. So these are the two functions of any yoga system, right? And like when jnana yogis or like ashtanga yogis, when they see bhakti yogis, so they see them, अरे ये तो like हमेशा कीर्तन करते हैं, नाचते रहते हैं, and then प्रसाद का नाम पे कुछ भी खा लेते हैं, है ना? So इनका sense control किधर होता है? So then they call, so many of the times if you go to some yoga institutes and things like that, they also would have put the yoga ladder, no, and they will put bhakti yoga in very low, this one, like जो भावुक है, no, जो बहुत sentimental है, and then जिसको sense control करना नहीं आता है, no, वो लोग सब भक्ति योगा कर लेते हैं, no, so भोग विलास में पड़े रहते हैं, no, so their understanding of this one is that these people are always engaged in, no, senses and sense objects are always engaged, no, ये क्या वैरागी है, ये क्या भक्ति है, no, ये क्या like योगी है, no, ये तो योगी नहीं है, ये भोगी है, no, हमेशा भोग करते रहते हैं, no, so it becomes very difficult for people to understand this one, how bhakti yoga functions, no. So first of all, like we are enrolled into a yoga system, and we are also expected to display these two qualities of sense control and understanding of the absolute truth, right? So how is sense control achieved in bhakti yoga? So that is need to be understood, right? So now, like what is the practice of bhakti yoga? Practice of bhakti yoga means to indulge in the Navavidha bhakti, that is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So that is Shravanam about the absolute truth, Shravanam about the Supreme Lord, and then Kirtanam about the Supreme Lord. So we chant the names of Lord and things like that, and then Smaranam, remembrance of the Lord and things like that. So now there are things that facilitate this, What is that which facilitates this? So this Prasada, mercy of the Lord. So we are fully dependent on the mercy of the Lord. So in other yoga systems, if you see, like whatever you like, whatever you want, like the rules and regulations, it is within your capacity to execute, or you make a plan to execute that. But in Bhakti Yoga system, right from the beginning, we are told that we don't have the capacity to execute this, right? So for hearing the names of the Lord, so we have a practical experience. In the morning, we were trying to sit and chant. Like how many of us could able to fully focus and hear the names, throughout? So mind is something that, like, I know it's a very, very simple thing. Sound is coming and I just have to hear. So like, but it becomes quite difficult. So why? Because the material nature, we are dealing with the material nature, and this material nature is an energy of Krishna, and we cannot control the material nature. So we have to have the grace of the Lord. So then by the grace of the Lord, so we will be able to control the senses, and by the grace of the Lord, we will be able to understand Him, right? So this is the process of Bhakti Yoga. So now in this process, this actually Prasadam Prayers actually puts our philosophy, complete philosophy, is there in this particular prayer. So we will try to read and understand. So till what time we have? 9 o'clock we have to speak. So first prayer before Sharira Vidyajal is the Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swalpa Punya Vatam Rajan Vishwasha Naiva Jayate. Right? So what is the meaning of this? Mahaprasade, so that is the prasadam that we have, and Govinda, so that is the Supreme Lord, and then Nama Brahmani. Nama Brahma means what? The holy name of the Lord. So now, for example, so the river that is flowing here, so this is called Dravya Brahma. Brahma means what? So Brahman means what? The Supreme Absolute Truth, or the Supreme Lord Himself. And then Nama Brahma means the Lord in the form of the name. And then Dravya Brahma means Lord in the form of water, or Dravya, like different substance. So like this Kaveri and Mother Ganga, like Saraswati. So all these are non-different from the Supreme Lord, because they can actually give the realization of the Supreme Lord. So they are like very, very powerful and potent rivers actually. So, and then we have Shabda Brahma. This again, the Vedic literatures is called Shabda Brahma. So that is Lord in the form of the Vedic sound vibration, right? So in this way, the Lord is represented in different forms. So one of the forms is Nama Brahma, right? So Nama Brahmani, and then Vaishnave. What happened? Prasadam, okay. So Nama Brahma means the holy name of the Lord, and then Vaishnava means the devotees of the Lord, right? So these four entities are mentioned: Mahaprasada, Govinda, Nama Brahma, and then Vaishnava, right? So these four things, what about these four things? No swalpa punya vatam rajan, vishvasanai vajayate. So to have faith in them, a person who has got very, very little punya, he will never be able to get the faith in these entities. That means one should have tremendous amount of punya to get faith in these four things. No, to accept Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, to accept Mahaprasad or mercy as the means of deliverance, no, mercy of the Lord as a means of deliverance, and then to have faith in the holy name, and then to have the faith in the Vaishnavas, no, faith in service to the Vaishnavas. So this is tremendous amount of punya, like when it goes inside. So that is when we will get no faith in these things. No, otherwise we will not be able to get faith in these things. So now when we meet somebody new, we try to explain these concepts. We try to establish no Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead, and sometimes after no exhausting all our logic, but still the person is not understanding. No, so then no, like how it is possible, like no, मैंने तो बताया वो like no जितना भी logic था, like no whatever was taught, like everything I downloaded in one day only, but still he was not able to no like become no, he was not convinced that Krishna is Supreme Lord. So like what to do? So this, there is a nice example of this is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Like there is a person called this Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, right? So in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like who is a better preacher than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? No, he's the best preacher no exists in the whole creation, right? And then he was trying to give this understanding that how Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was a Mayavadi, so he believes that there is no Supreme Lord, no, there is only one Brahma Jyoti, which is white light, and then there is no existence of any Supreme Lord, or he has some qualities, pastimes and things like that. So he doesn't have any faith in all of these things. So but then no, Mahaprabhu is trying to preach. So at the end of the preaching session, he was unsuccessful. No, he was not able to convince that like this one, what is that? Sorry, not Mahaprabhu was not, Gopinath Acharya. He was like one of the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. So he was actually trying to preach. So but then like at the end of the preaching session, no, the result is he was not convinced. Like no, he was not able to understand that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then like the example that is given is that a person who doesn't have punya, you give any amount of logic, no, it is not possible for him to understand. So later on, like because of the association with this one, not because of the logics offered by Gopinath Acharya, but because the association of Gopinath Acharya, later on he like turns into a devotee. No, he was able to understand the science of Bhakti Yoga. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells, because Gopinath Acharya was so much intent in making him a devotee, so that's why he became a devotee. It's not because of the logic that we present. No, so we should understand when somebody new comes, we don't know like what punya they carry. No, in many lifetimes. So they may have got punya and they may have got some sinful credits. We don't know. So better to first of all give them some prasadam and ask them to chant the names of Lord, and then give them a good experience of this one, rather than downloading all the philosophy that we know or all the knowledge that we know in that person. So finally like no, oh like he becomes a non-devotee or he becomes anti-preaching ho jayega. So like the devotee may say, Prabhuji, like no, I spoke everything what is there in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam only. How do you say it is anti-preaching? I did not like what is that blaspheme the Lord in any way. No, but then it overdose ho jayega. No, it is like, no, you can spoil a person's stomach, no, by giving like something poisonous, or by giving something nice but making him overeat. No, so both the ways you can actually spoil the stomach of a person, right? So even if you give the right message, but if you overdose it, so then it becomes spoiled. No, the person will get indigestion and he will not be able to take up Krishna consciousness. So like no, jitna dena, तो बच्चों को लाइक नो सरलाक खिलाना है, लाइक नो वो क्या बोलता है, लाइक मिल्क नो दूध पिलाना है एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट. बच्चों को पनीर सब्जी खिलाया तो लाइक नो शायद क्या मर भी जाएगा. नो सो इसके लिए लाइक केयरफुल होना चाहिए. नो वॉट एवर वी हर्ड इन भागवतम क्लास, वॉट एवर वी हर्ड इन everything we should not download, right? So that is a mature preacher. He knows what to give. No, first he will give the device sessions, and then he gives like little more, higher knowledge and higher knowledge, like that. So stage by stage he will give. An immature preacher, whatever he has heard, everything he will download. No, so he will not be able to understand, no, what to give to which person actually. No, so now we see that this four things, no, the faith in these four things comes when the person has got a good amount of punya, no, in him. So that means he should have taken lots of Mahaprasadam before, and he should have, without even understanding, no, lots of this one, and unknowingly he has served some devotee. And one time His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, he was traveling to some place, and then on the way, there was a petrol station was there, and they were filling the petrol, and Maharaj told, he had some bag with him. So he asked the petrol station person, can you carry this for some time? No, I have to take some cash. So then he was carrying it, and the servant was very much in anxiety. No, Maharaj, I'm traveling with you for holding all these things only. You are not giving me, you are giving that person. So why are you doing this? So then Maharaj told that we don't know when another Vaishnava will pass by this way, and it is a good opportunity for him to render some service. So you are always serving me, but then I wanted to give him some opportunity to serve, so that his devotional life may start. And so this is a very, very interesting thing. So here there is no class that is taken, there is no philosophy that is explained, but then the devotional service is started actually. So it is not even Jesus Christ also used to say that a preacher may preach throughout the day and he may speak also sometimes. So that means what? So our job is to create the punya in people, and when the punya is created, automatically they will be able to understand Krishna is Supreme Lord. Automatically they will be able to understand they will be able to get the faith in the holy name. So everything will happen, right? So that is the most important thing. So now we get into the prayer. So this prayer starts with Baire. Baire means oh brothers, please listen. And Sharira avidya jal. Sharira means what?
Body.
This body. Avidya, ignorance. Jal means net. It is a network of illusion. This body is a network of illusion. This body is made to put us into illusion, right? So now we are trying to use this body to come to knowledge. So that's the most ironical thing. So this body is a network of illusion. Sharira avidya jal. And Jada Indriya. Jada Indriya means what? Indriya means senses. Jada Indriya means blunt material senses, right? So it's very, very, this one. Jada Indriya. Tahe Kal. Kal means?
Time.
Any other meaning of Kal? हाँ, तो काल नजदीक आ गया, मतलब मृत्यु आ गया पास में. So jada indriya tahe kal. So that means these senses are as good as serpents, or as good as the death personified, right? So for the yogis, for the practitioners of yoga system, any of the yoga system, for them the senses are considered to be like venomous serpents. So they consider for them that is why always they are controlling the senses, always they are depriving the senses from its sense objects. Why they are doing this? Because they see that the senses are as good as venomous serpents, because they can anytime poison. What is a poison that can happen? What is a poison that the senses can give? The desire for sense gratification. Either एक अच्छा चीज देखो, इससे पड़ जाओ, and then then the whole pursuit of getting out of this material world becomes a problem. So a prisoner is put into the jail, and then he is put in with lock and chain, right? So this material world is also called as the prison house. And where is the lock and chain? Where is the gate? Over here. Which is the lock that is put for this prisoner? Huh? Okay. Desire. Any other thing? So it is called as Maituna Agara. It is a jail whose locks and key, whose lock is the sex or the material sense gratification, right? So even trying to exploit some food item, that is also one way of sex only, no, like that is senses and sense objects coming together, right? So this material world is created in such a way that anybody wants they can go out, but still nobody will go out. Why? Because like Krishna has created the sense objects and Krishna has given us some senses. Itna kafi hai, koi nahi bahar jayega. No? So it is like even trying their best, still they cannot go out. No, that is the power of the senses and sense objects. And this is the venomous serpent, a person who's trying to get out of this material world. No, for him the senses are deadly enemies. No, for him the senses are very deadly enemies. And then we see that like Jada Indriya Tahe Kal, Jiva Phele Vishaya Sahare. No, so the living entity is thrown into the Vishaya Sahara. Vishaya means what?
Sense objects.
Vishaya means sense objects. And then Jada Indriya Tahe Kal, no, the senses are the deadly enemies. And when will the senses become activated?
Seeing the sense objects.
In the presence of sense objects. And the living entity is thrown into the ocean of sense objects. So highly active. No, senses will be highly activated when we are thrown in the presence of the sense objects and everywhere. No, हम डूब गए हैं, like no, विषय सागर के अंदर डूब गए हैं, and wherever you can see only sense objects, right? So then like it is a very very deadly combination. So living entity is thrown into the like ocean of sense objects. And Tara Madhya Jivati, no, like of all the senses, the critical sense is the tongue actually. Tara Madhya Jivati, no, Jiva and Ati Lobhamaya, no, he is very very like Lobhamaya, very greedy. No, it is like okay, senses is there and sense objects is there, they become activated. And here the problem is Ati Lobhamaya means they are very greedy. No, it is like self-destruction is happening over here. No, like if like no, if somebody doesn't know a particular preparation is a poison, and then the preparation appears to be very tasty, and then he is very greedy also. No, he is trying to consume that food preparation, no, as fast as possible. That means like his death is very sure, right? So in the same way we see that no, the senses are very dangerous and senses become activated when the sense objects are there and the living entity is thrown into the ocean of sense objects. This train makes a little more sound. Hare Krishna. So now we see that this is like we are attached with a time bomb, and that time bomb is like ticking very fast. No, and we see that this tongue is the most ferocious amongst all the senses. And take jita, no, katina sansare. Within this material world, to win over the tongue is very very difficult. No, usko jeetna, take jita, katina sansare. No, it is very very difficult in this material world. So now what is a solution? So it looks like a very depressing statement. You have to get liberation, and then like you are given the senses and the sense objects, and then you are put in the senses are also like not ordinary senses. They are like going voluntarily and spontaneously, and they are like engaging with the sense objects. That's like a very very difficult this one. Okay, is there any way to get out? Is there any way to solve this puzzle? So it is mentioned there is no way to solve this puzzle. Like there is no way to win over this tongue. It's like a dead end ka dead end mein pahuncha diye. So but then here comes the secret of Bhakti Yoga. Krishna bada dayamoy. No, Krishna is very very merciful, and kari bare jiva jai. No, he will enable us to win over this tongue, right? So on our own we cannot win over the tongue. On our own we cannot win over the senses. So until the time we are completely engaged in the sense sense gratification, there is no possibility of awakening the knowledge. No, first level of knowledge is like abhi पानी के अंदर डूब गए हैं, तो first level of rescuing is at least 1 inch पानी का ऊपर आ जाना. No, उसके बाद like जाके like कपड़ा उतार के like सूखा कपड़ा पहन के